Ladies and gentlemen, I've been using Sunbracers a good bit since the Solar 3.0 subclass update, and I was just going to do a quick review on the exotic, but what I saw during damage testing blew me away. I mean, my jaw hit the floor. Sunbracers in the past were generally regarded as a very fun exotic option, but one that was mainly geared toward low-level ad clearing, so this was the manner in which I had always been using it. But with the Solar 3.0 update, the single target damage is way better than I ever could have expected. I'll elaborate a bit further when we get into that damage testing, but I do think you'll be quite impressed. Sunbracers are Warlock exotic gloves that pair directly with the Solar Grenade. But not all Solar Grenades, the Solar Grenade. The Solar Grenade, which is a bit confusing. Probably should have circulated a petition to get that changed years ago. But anyway, the exotic perk is Helium Spirals. It increases the duration of Solar Grenades, and Solar melee kills grant unlimited Solar Grenade energy for a brief time. So let's take a look at this in action. A base Solar Grenade with the Touch of Flame aspect equipped, which already does extended duration, is active for about 6.2 seconds from the moment of impact. If you do have Sunbracers equipped, and you don't even need to have the exotic perk active, that window will be extended to just over 10 seconds. Basically an extra 4 seconds just for having the exotic on. Another interesting and unmentioned feature, Sunbracers do have fastball built in intrinsically, allowing you to throw these Solar Grenades a bit further. Now, I didn't step off the distance physically, but you can see in a side-by-side comparison here just how much further up the wall the Sunbracer grenade hits. For the unlimited grenade energy, when securing a Solar melee final blow, and this does need to be a charged melee to activate the effect, first off, if you're short on grenade energy, you're going to get a full refresh. Sunbracers Ready will appear on the left side of your screen with a 5-second timer. As soon as you throw a Solar Grenade, Sunbracers will appear underneath it. That also carries a 5-second timer. This is now your window to use that unlimited grenade energy. So you have 5 seconds to activate it and then 5 seconds to make use of it. In that time frame, if you are spamming out grenades, you should be able to get off 5 of them. Each individual grenade is going to burn for roughly 10 seconds, and it is quite a spectacle with the newly added lava blob feature of the grenades. I could have just stayed home and did this for the 4th of July. But another facet added to these grenades as of the Solar 3.0 update, they are applying Scorch and Scorch stacks. Each grenade applies 20 stacks on the individual detonations, and 14 for every second that a target stands in the AoE. Those numbers move up to 30 and 21 respectively if you have Ember of Ashes applied in your fragment slots. So a few grenades in rapid succession can easily spark that ignition. When considering the damage output, Sunbracers typically did not deal great single target damage because of the fact that the AoE damage ticks from multiple grenades do not overlap. So even though you put 5 grenades on a target, you wouldn't get 5 times the damage ticks. From what I've been seeing, I think this is still probably the case, but some big changes occurred with Solar 3.0. Solar Grenades always dealt blast, then AoE tick damage, but now they register Scorch ticks, ignition damage, and damage from the lava blobs with the Touch of Flame aspect. That's essentially 5 different damage sources rolled into one grenade now. Plus, with the addition of Touch of Flame, a Sunbracer Solar Grenade is now burning for 2 seconds longer, 10 seconds as we saw earlier. And accurately trying to decipher what is happening in this torrent of damage numbers is a serious pain. Plus, when damage is rolling off at this frequency, there's always the chance that not every value is being displayed properly on screen. I don't 100% trust just counting and adding up the damage values here. On top of that, Carl, who I generally use for all of my damage testing, doesn't have enough health to fully measure how much damage is actually being dealt. So, to the Grasp of Avarice dungeon we go to test versus the Ogre boss. And just to put things into a little better perspective, I did test 2 of the other Solar Grenade preferred exotics as well, Starfire Protocol and Verity's Brow. Starfire allows us to pocket 2 fusion grenades, and Touch of Flame lets each grenade explode twice. And while there are huge upsides and insane builds that you can run with Starfire fusions, I'm just testing the raw damage from the double grenades here. Between the 4 explosions caused by 2 grenades and 1 blast of ignition, we dealt 153,661 points of damage. With Verity's Brow, if we build our stacks of death throws up to 5x and use a Touch of Flame Solar Grenade, provided the Ogre eats the bulk of the damage, we're looking at 214,194. Now, when you see what you're about to see, remember that the damage boost provided by these 2 exotics is no joke, but they aren't going to match Sunbracer's damage output. Not even close. After securing the melee kill and proccing Sunbracers, I was able to get all 5 Solar Grenades right on the Ogre. And they're cooking hard. You can see that mess of damage numbers flying off. Now this is best case scenario damage here because those Solar Grenades ended up right where they needed to be, and the Ogre just decided to kind of hang out in them. But that is what I'm looking for, maximum potential damage, and it is quite impressive. Once all is said and done, 575,724 points of damage. That's not very good damage. Starfire and Verity's Brow did very good damage. This is, holy shit, is that okay? Maybe I should tell a grown-up next level type damage. We went well over 500,000 in dungeon level damage scaling because I meleeed an enemy and tossed a few grenades. And it only takes 5 seconds to get those grenades out, so I definitely could have dumped weapon damage on the ogre simultaneously. Now earlier this season, Fallout Plays tested a whole slew of supers in this video. I'll be sure to link it down below, check it out if you haven't seen it already. It's kind of been my mental anchor for damage perspective as of late. In Fallout's testing, only one super was able to eclipse the 500k mark, and that was a Star Eater Blade Barrage. We just went sailing by 500k with an exotic and some grenades. So why is this dealing so much damage when it really didn't in the past? It would appear to me that even if the actual DOT ticks from the grenade are not overlapping, the increased overall duration, the scorch, the ignitions, and the lava blobs are going a long way in boosting the damage output. And even though the damage output is downright amazing, I do like to assess things objectively. The good. Sunbracers has extremely strong ad clearing and boss damage potential. It can really thrive in both aspects, something not many exotics can claim. Single target damage was always the big knock against it. That doesn't seem to be an issue anymore. The activation is fairly simple. You need one charged melee kill. You can benefit from the exotic even when the Sunbracers buff is not procced, since the throw distance and extended grenade duration are intrinsic. It synergizes quite nicely with many of the Solar 3.0 fragments. Anything that provides a benefit from Scorch, or anything that has a boost tied to ignition, could be fantastic options. Heat Rises is a great secondary aspect to run with Sunbracers. Final Blows while airborne refund melee energy. Catch a few enemies with a solar grenade when in the air, and watch that melee meter fill back up. And even if your grenade energy is empty, securing that charged melee immediately refills it. So you might not need to spec as hard into the discipline stat if you don't want to. If you're looking for a nice exotic weapon pairing, try Monte Carlo. The weapon kills provide bumps to the melee meter, and they do have a chance to fully top it off immediately. So if you're like me and have no gear spec for strength, Monte is a great way to keep that charged melee up and active. Onto the not so good, the setup. It's not terrible, but to get the biggest boost from the exotic, you need to have an ad available to get a solar melee kill on. Not a big ask, but then again, not always possible. If you find yourself in a situation where all the enemies have been killed off except for the boss you're trying to pour the damage on, it's not going to work out as well. Then you have that limited 5-second window to get to where you want to be and start discharging your grenades to deal the big damage. Not an insurmountable task by any means, but you are working within a brief time frame. Plus, most enemies move. Some move a little, some move a lot. Sunbracers are going to be inherently weaker against enemies that are highly mobile. And then if you are taking these into higher level content, a lot of enemies, even your standard red bars, won't just die out to a single charged melee. So you might have a little more difficulty getting the perk active. Lastly, your Starfire Classy Resto Infinite Fusion build is probably a touch better still. That setup is just so stinking practical and holds up well in almost all content. I think Sunbracers are really good, but it might not quite match the total package of a Starfire build. But overall, I mean, wow. I am thoroughly impressed with what Sunbracers can accomplish right now. It was always a great ad clearing exotic, but I had no idea how much it gained in the single target damage department with Solar 3.0. And you don't even have to synergize it with any artifact mods. This works all within the exotic and the aspect fragment system. So Sunbracers are here to stay, long past the expiration date of this season. I am more than comfortable in saying that this is a top tier solar exotic for Warlocks now. So if you haven't tried Sunbracers in a while, strap them on, build into them a little bit, and go ham. I guarantee it's going to put a smile on your face. And if you did enjoy the video, please remember to leave it a like and consider subscribing to the Ironworker Gaming channel if you're not already, and you'd like to catch more of my Destiny 2 content in the future. If you have anything to add, drop it down in the comments. I always enjoy hearing everyone's take on things. And with all that being said, I'd like to thank you for taking the time out of your day to check out this exotic armor review. You guys are awesome, and I will catch you on the next one.